Hey guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. Well, not really. You guys have seen me do both of these things before, but I haven't really combined them in a while. I'm going to be using the new classic mouse collection. Actually, a couple of the different die sets. I think what I'm going to be using is Frames and Sentiments, and where's the container? I don't know where I put it. Anyway, I'm also going to be using the mice. Because, yeah. Oh, Steamboat Willie Duo. That would explain things. Anyway, I'm going to do that. But what I want to do is I want to make a new Mousepad. Yeah, I live in the land of the mouse. I am in Central Florida. And what would be better than to have a Mousepad that I made with the fun mouse on my desk, right? Besides the fact that the one I was using just isn't really working that well. I think I got it filthy and that happens. Anyway, I've got a little bit of this out for some ideas. What I'm going to start with, I think, is I want to make the pieces that I'm going to then sublimate onto this Mousepad. Now, the Mousepad is not a professional blank. It's one I got off of Amazon. I got a pack of them to play with and try out, and then I never got around to doing it. But we're going to do it today. And I'm going to just make I'm basically going to make some sublimatable colored cardstock. That's the first step. So I mostly had this out to help me with ideas for color. First, I definitely need some black. I know I'm going to want some red and some yellow. So those are the ones we're going to start off with. And this part is super, super easy, guys. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can do it with paint or you can do it with ink pads. I'm going to use the paint today. I've got my Artistry Sublimation paint. I've actually got some older bottles too that I haven't finished using up. So I'm going to use my older ones first. And let's see, we've got red and we've got yellow. And then we have black that looks purple. And I think I'm going to go ahead and bring out some blue too. Why not? And then I'll bring out some of the white, which is actually just a lightening medium, so that helps to change the tone of it. It doesn't actually make white anything. It just lightens the color, if that makes sense. So for your red, it'll help turn it a little bit pink if you want. I'm just using a brush that I've got from, I think I got this one from Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, one of the places. And I'm going to just start off with, let's make some black cardstock because I know we need our mice to be black. And I don't want to make a huge mess. So let me get out one of my mats. So I'm using a silicone baking mat that you would normally have in your kitchen. And I'm just using that to help me keep from getting paint all over my desk. It also makes it easier for me to be able to move it if I want to. Now you're thinking, this is not black, this is black. When it sublimates, it will turn black. The colors are always more muted when you put them right down onto your card. Yeah, I had the idea for doing a Mousepad a couple of weeks ago and then haven't had a chance to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that today with you guys. And I'm just covering the panel with some black paint. And since it's a solid color, other than possibly brush strokes, this should make it a nice solid color for my mouse. I don't know why I'm worrying about the edges. That's probably not going to be seen. And I'm going to add just a little bit more to be on the safe side. I have done projects before where the color wasn't as dark as I would like. Nobody else knew that there was an issue, but for me, I always wanted the blacks to be black. Okay, it's already drying pretty well too. So I'll move that one off to the side. So our first sublimatable paper is done. So you can make your own designs on your paper, guys, and be able to sublimate them. You don't need to go and buy anything special. You just need your artistry inks and paints. Next, we're gonna make some red paper. Same thing. I cleaned the brush off with some water and we are good to go to use the next color. So I'm going to do this with each of the colors. It's not rocket surgery. It's just adding a little paint onto your cardstock and then letting it dry so we can die cut out of it. So for the background, I'm not real sure what I want to do. But what you basically need, you're probably wondering, why was I using cardstock for my panels? And the reason for that is because I like die cutting out of cardstock. I just feel that it works better. So I'd rather make some custom cardstock to die cut well. And then I can do, which is normal for using sublimation inks and stamps and paints and all the things, is just use plain copy paper. You don't need any special special paper for this, so use what you have. So I've got a couple pieces of copy paper. I'm just going to draw right around my blank, which is my mouse pad, to show me where I want my design to go. And now I've got something to work with. Now, I didn't really need to, but I kind of like the padding for when I'm working on things. The paint isn't really going to soak through, so we should be fine. I think the next thing I need to do is go ahead and cut out my main characters, and then I can decide what kind of background I want. One thing I have noticed with doing some sublimation, at least the couple of projects I've done like this in the past, you're able to layer the cardstock up and not worry about the colors kind of blending through. The cardstock, maybe because I do it with cardstock, not 100% sure, but it doesn't seem to go all the way through. It blocks. Say if I've got one layer on top of another layer and then the paper and then here's my, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Here's my mouse pad. Here is one color of a design, and then I've got another one. This is not going to soak through the other, if that makes sense. At least that's what I found in the past. You can also use some sublimation tape as a mask or die cut your main piece. I'm not going to do that because that is way too much work, but we're going to see how this works out. And if it doesn't work out, I do have some extra mouse pads. Okay, I've got a bunch of things cut out. Isn't this just friggin' adorable? Okay, yeah, this is not what it's gonna look like. I've just got them kind of put on here. Let me put away these last couple of dies real quick to kind of give me an idea. Now, the mice, my mice are basically where I think I want them to go. Okay, kind of, sort of. Okay, and then I'm going to be putting a scattering of stars and hearts and things on there in red, blue. I do have some, yeah, red, blue, and yellow, just however many I want. If I don't use them all, it's okay. I can find a use for them. I even have an extra mouse that I may use for something else. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do this. Okay, no, what we have to do is we have to take all of those off because we still need to do our background. And I think what I'm gonna do, my brush is mostly dry now, I'm just gonna put a little bit of paint on there. Not covering it all up, just doing a little bit and in different colors and letting it just kind of do its thing. And I'm kind of doing it just yeah, that's actually what I want. I don't know if you guys understood my words or not, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. I want just scattering of color in the background. I could have just gone with white, but you know what? I keep tea and coffee and water and all the things over here, so I'm using I'm using my area whenever I'm doing any crafting. And if I'm going to be using this mouse pad while I'm doing these things, I kind of need to make sure that if it gets spilled on, it's not going to look super awful, right? Okay. Kind of just a dry brush kind of look there. Let's come in with some red next. Okay, so that's going to be my background. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to adhere, yes, you heard me right, adhere my pieces down so that they're going to be like on top of this and staying in place so that when, let me add a little bit more blue there, so that when I do go to press, they're not going to be shifting around. Okay, so to adhere these, you don't need a lot of adhesive. Okay, you just need enough to hold it in place. So I'm just going to use a tape runner, and I'm only going to use a little bit on each of the pieces. So I've got these two layered up. I'm going to put it on top of my red. And I think it would probably look okay, but I may decide to put a white piece behind it. So I'm going to just put these down and we're going to see what I think after I get all of these little guys assembled. Okay, I just had a thought. I should have done these opposite direction because if we put it down like this, the words are going to be backwards. Darn it, now I need to make more colored cardstock so we can do it over again. The mouse is fine, but now I need to do, if I want to do these circles, I need some more colored cardstock. I'm not going to have you guys watch it again. I'm just going to go ahead and color up some more. I'm going to paint some more cardstock. Okay, so I decided I'm going to add some white cardstock to the back of these. And I'm sorry, I got very frustrated because of making that mistake. Remember, you have to mirror everything. So on this one, we do have the little bit of white. I'm not 100% sure whether or not those spaces for the white are going to be too small. I'm thinking it's going to be fine, but I don't know for 100% sure. I'm going to try to put that about an inch or so in from the two edges. And I have to be careful with this copy paper because the adhesive is going to stick to it a little bit more so than, then I think that's about right. Let me get out my T-square too. There we go. So this I think is going to be such a fun mouse pad. Oh my goodness. So I am ready now to start assembling everything. Now, one thing I did do before getting started on this, because I haven't done anything on a mouse pad before, I had done a neoprene car coaster, but I've only done a couple of those. So I, of course, needed to look up and see what the temperatures and everything are supposed to be for that. And while I was doing that, I came across a video from the Country Chic Cottage where she said to, first off, preheat your mouse pad, because it has got, she says it has a tendency to hold on to moisture. I figured since I'm in Florida, it would need it more. And it turned out I did it once. I didn't see any steam coming up. So, and that was at 385 for 60 seconds. So I did what she said, but it doesn't look like it actually had any kind of effect. I am going to run a lint roller over this though, to make sure that it's not got any lint or anything on there. If I can find my lint roller. I'm going to go ahead and make my sandwich now, because I'm not going to take you guys over to my heat press. I'm going to be actually using a big heat press, and I don't have a camera set up for that. Okay, we're going to attempt this. I don't know if the tape is going to stick to the neoprene or not, but we're going to give it a shot. And I'm going to try to make sure that I line it up right with the edges, because I really like this layout. I think this is going to be super cute. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down, lining it up with my pencil marks. Okay, then we're going to use a bunch of heat tape. So this is some heat tape from Artistry. I've also got Craft Express in case this roll runs out. And I do have my heat press already heated up to 385, and we're going to press for 60 seconds. And I need to put plenty of heat tape down, because I do not want this to shift, because if it shifts, that's going to give us ghosting, and I don't really want my mouse to be... This is not a Halloween mouse pad. Okay. So the next important thing to talk about is the protective paper. What we're going to use, this is Artist-Free protective paper. I put it in an old, this I think was a tinfoil, might have been a tinfoil roll, just so that I could use it to be able to cut my paper easier. So we're going to use 2 sheets of that, one for on top and one for on bottom. Okay, and the way that this works is we have our lower bun. I'm going to explain it the same way that we always do for Artist-Free videos and such, although this is not sponsored. This is the bottom bun, and we have our hamburger. We have our design, which is the cheese, and it's going to face up. And then we're going to have a second piece. So I'm going to go pop this into my heat press, and I'll be back in a minute after it's had time to heat up, and we're going to take a look and see how this is. Okay, I did a little sneak peek, and I did see one of my stars was on there. So we're going to take a look and see how this did. So far, look at that. I think that is cute. I'm hoping everything else worked well. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, look how vibrant that is. Now, there are some things that did turn out quite good, but that is still marvelous. Some of the letters didn't show up as well, but oh my goodness, look at that. And this is just using your dies. Isn't that just fabulous? So the reason that these pieces, the yellows, didn't turn out quite so well was because of the color on the back of the the die cut. It's because I used the opposite side. So this one has got a little bit of a red shadow where it says, well, hello there. And the other one, I think that one was on the back of a blue, so it's kind of green. But I'm loving this. Oh my God. This is so, so fun. So you guys need to make your own Disney Mousepad using the Steamboat Willie collection. Look at that. I think it turned out fabulous. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.